Welcome back to It Tastes Like Burning, this Matt.
This is Jesse.
And welcome back to the podcast especial extraordinaire. It's about the fish.
Yeah, the fish.
So before we get into the fish, and it's about the fish, you can always reach out to us at ittasteslikeburningcast at gmail.com. You can find us on Patreon at ittasteslikeburningcast. Always do look for the, we'll call it the reruns and the specials on YouTube at It Tastes Like Burning Cast. And we do have our new merch store up and running right now. Jesse, go ahead and before we talk about the fish, go ahead and just give us a quick rundown.
So it's a Printify store. Link is in the description. Easy to find. Just we've shot it out there on some social media stuff too, but all of our videos, our YouTube channel, it's linked there. You can find it in our profile on our podcast pages. But yeah, we've got t-shirts, we've got coffee mugs, we've got some little small 1-ounce glasses for your favorite beverage, and then working on other things to go in there. Thinking about a candle, but we haven't found the person that can produce the candle that smells like single wide trailer house fire runoff.
Right.
So it may be leather.
Or
I don't
lift assist.
or lift assist. Yeah. GI bleed. We haven't found that one either. So
we're still waiting for FDA approval.
So once we kind of nail down what we want to put in there, it's horrible, right? It'll probably be leather, leather or some, cotton, fresh rain, freshly mowed grass, and then it'll be ricin. But wait, there's more. But we'll get some candles out there. We'll get, just stuff, man. If there's something you want to see, like It Tastes Like Burning thing, and there's stickers on there. There's a blanket, nice little, lap blanket for your couch while you're sitting there watching the YouTube and whatever. It's there. So let us know if there's something special you want. Pretty much anything's almost open game. There's pre-workout. We could have It Taste Like Burning pre-workout. So if that's what you're into, let us know. We'll freaking get it made.
Well, we're still working on the recipe for that. It tastes like burning. Can't even make the joke. Face mask and you know other bathroom products.
Yeah.
So
pump it.
Yeah.
This town needs an enema.
So one thing that we've been going down the rabbit hole on, and it originally started with us trying to make basically a podcast t-shirt, and then over the last couple of days and since the last podcast, disaster has struck in California. And Cal Fire is currently and effectively currently getting their teeth absolutely kicked in. And them poor guys are over there fighting the good fight. And in doing so, a whole bunch of other, for lack of better words, just facts and figures and information's come out on coming at some of the challenges that Cal Fire's having to deal with. And it just basically boils down to just decades of incompetence compounded by a legacy of just poor policy.
Yeah.
And it's truly coming to a head. It's not just a California problem. Colorado's getting its teeth kicked in on this, and you'll continue to see it
everywhere, because you saw some of the same stuff happen in the Panhandle fires back early in the year, or
it was about a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago, and it's just the best intentions of a politician don't always work out for the reality of the situation, right?
Yeah. Well, which is real typical. Politicians who don't actually understand or know anything, but at least they're not educated or skilled, have any actual real life experience in the field that they're making literal legal precedents for.
Or ask.
Right. And It's the old adage, the best intentions are the road laid to hell. And it's truly coming to a precipice in California. And I know those evil bastard insurance companies raising everyone's rates. Well, what the hell are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to go bankrupt? I mean, come on. That's not an answer either. They have to be able to figure out a way to pay their premiums at the end of the day, also to anyone that carries their insurance. So I don't really have a problem with an insurance company having to do whatever they have to do to remain profitable,
Solvent.
because you got to remember, if you're against that, you ain't a capitalist. So, you start asking some really difficult questions among your personal political beliefs, or you can sit there and say, what does someone that has lived in the middle of Sacramento and been a legislature for the last 38 years, what do they actually know about wildland fire and mitigation? And why are they doing all of these policies that do nothing but hamper the firefighting capabilities of all cities around the state of California? You know,
Or just mayors and city councils. I don't know, I mean, the LA mayor recorded that she, her initial ask was like a $40 million budget cut, and it ended up at 17 million or something like that.
right.
The numbers are fuzzy, and it's irrelevant what the actual number is, right? Because it literally took money out of the fire service and stuck it in some other project, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And through that, it they reduce staffing, they reduce overtime, they lose the ability to effectively do their job.
Or effectively protect the lives and property of their citizens that duly elected their incompetent ass.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's that. So today's podcast is going to be a special on just focusing on mainly uh, bad management, bad political decisions, and the long-term repercussions of those bad policies and bad decisions, and at the end of the day, what they look like at the end of the road.
And let's not forget to add in there our ability to use AI to create crazy images.
There might be a small segment of that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there in California, they have historically always had bad wildland fires. They've always had this.
Well, they have everything working against them for that. And if you take out the political landscape of it, I mean, you've got the Santa Ana winds,
Topography.
topography. You've got just the type of vegetation, the arid climate,
Yeah, a state that's highly susceptible to drought or monsoon. Like there's no in between
right.
state. You're either drowning or you're baking to death.
Yeah, and it's just this natural recipe for disaster, and then you can compound it with policies, right?
Right.
So it's even if they did nothing and it was just wild blue yonder out there, it would still be a huge, difficult situation to deal with the
See, but I
fires.
would argue otherwise, because part of their problem is that they don't allow the fires to just burn. And because the fires had never burned and been allowed to burn since about the 30s, what you have is a catastrophic overgrowth of and this isn't just California. We are now talking
Oh
nationwide.
yeah, no, it's a Texas thing too
Yeah.
because it has a lot to do with
It's the
it's the
catastrophic
decline of the
mismanagement of the Texas Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, and then any state agency remotely attached in and thereof.
it's also the decline of agriculture.
To a major extent, yes.
Yeah, I mean you've got the decline of the mom and pop farm situation and ranch situation where it's the
Yeah,
single
but the
proprietor
total.
rancher.
So I'll push back. This is a different political thing, and I'll stop here. I don't think agriculture is reduced at all in the U.S. What has reduced is the total amount of owners.
Right, right, right.
Okay, it's corporations now that handle food production in the US.
Yeah. And so the corporation's interested in profits and gains, and the individual farmer or rancher is interested in the legacy of the land for future generations.
You mean profit and gains in the sense of that they have to be able to maintain X amount of water to grow profitable crops for them, kind of like a specific family in California that focuses on almonds and pomegranates?
Yes, could be those exact people,
That
right?
has had a long legacy of over 35 years of big campaigning and endorsing specific political entities that have allowed them to control water district rights in the entire state and be able to capture and basically sequester and squander all civilian water rights for their ability to keep their farms profitable.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, something like that.
Or even just the pesticides, herbicides, and so forth that they want to use that are more.
I just remembered the name of that damn fish in California.
What is it?
It's the schmelt.
It's a schmelt.
It's a California schmelt.
Oh,
You
I-
talk for a second. I'm going to
look,
wiki
look,
this and
look.
pull it up.
Yeah, look that up because I thought it was just like a minnow,
No,
but
it is.
it is.
It's
It's a
tiny.
small minnow. Yeah. So, you know, and I'm not. I'm not. I'm a. I'm for wildlife. I love wildlife. I'm an avid hunter. Uh, have been a hunting guide, professional hunter. Like, yep, that's it. Yep, smelt. And the outdoors are important to me. I enjoy the outdoors, right? But I also know that a big part of conservation is hunting and fishing and these things that play a part in the
Yeah,
population
I
control.
truly believe
Because if
people that aren't hunters, I'm sorry, they just won't understand this. If you want to save an animal species, give it to the hunters.
yeah, look at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Uh,
The
the list is huge.
Yeah, Ducks Unlimited, the National Wild Turkey
Look at all the
Federation,
endangered critters out of Africa that were brought to Texas.
and now we have more of them than they do.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, if you want to save something, give it to a hunter. If you want to protect something, give it to a hunter. If you want to make sure that it is viable and sustainable, give it to a hunter.
yeah,
That's the kicker in this. And so you have this catastrophic meeting of bad environmental policy with the California Delta Schmelt. You have gigantic corporations that are able to pass secret water laws that the voters never voted on and that the state legislatures just passed because they're a water board. Okay. And they don't even realize that, God, what is this guy's name? William Spaniel, I think. I may be wrong. Okay. Who's also the CEO of a major food corporation that's worth $5 to $8 billion a year, is also directly responsible for determining the allocation of water in California to citizens, and that this same water boards oversold their water that they didn't have to towns and cities by 5 times. When we talk about commodities, water is a literal commodity. If you have 1 gallon of water, you literally have 1 gallon of water. And you can't turn around and sell that 1 gallon of water to 5 cities at 1 gallon.
yeah.
And yet this has been happening for decades in California. It's a catastrophic problem. And one of the giant things that's biting poor Cal Fire square in the ass right now is the fact that they don't have access to water. Why do they not have access to water? Because the cities don't have access to water. Because the cities have to make sure that their civilian population has water.
That they can flush a toilet, right?
Right. I mean, it's not the city's fault. And I don't care how liberal or conservative the city is. That's the kicker in this. What we're talking about isn't Republican, it's not Democrat, it's not conservative, it's not liberal. What we're talking about is blatant mismanagement, bad policy, and what it puts you in.
Well, and the same holds true for a lot of the western Texas cities. So you take the San Angelos, the Midland, the Odessa, that way you get into some of those areas. They don't have the water to support their populations or their industry.
Right.
And it's not you can't we're picking on California per se because that's kind of the hot topic right now, but this is pretty much anything west of the Mississippi could be in the same boat,
Correct.
right? It's not a straight up California problem. This is Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, like into Oklahoma. Western Oklahoma is water poor. Now, central and eastern Oklahoma are all right. Arkansas is probably pretty good. Missouri's they're gonna fare all right in this, but even Kansas, western Kansas and Nebraska, like those guys water is precious to them.
No, your dividing line of the Mississippi West is very accurate.
Yeah.
So where I grew up as a kid in western Colorado, water was precious. And the water that I grew up on as a kid literally came down a ditch from the mountains. And in the spring, summer, and fall, you would use that to irrigate your fields and fill your cisterns for your house. And the house had filters. Like,
Yeah.
I literally grew up on ditch water. And when you ran out of water, you went to town with a water tank, and in this case, you bought water with a 500-gallon water tank in the back of a pickup truck, and you hauled water to your house, and then you dumped it into your cistern. I mean, to me, water conservation is something that I grew up like
Yeah,
living.
you shut the faucet off when you were lathering up, right?
Yeah, like you don't leave the faucet on when you're brushing your teeth. And to even take it one step further, when you're going number one in the bathroom,
You
you
just
don't
let it.
flush.
Yeah. If it's yellow, leave it mellow. If it's
Yeah.
brown, flush it down.
And I mean, I can tell you for 4 or 5 months of the year, it's not that it was a competition, but like we did everything in our power to only use 5,000 gallons of water in 4 or 5 months. Like planning your washing machine, that was strategic. It was because my dad was a cheap bastard too. Because you don't want to spend $1.25 on 500 gallons of water. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, like people that grow up in areas that are water limited actually understand
Well,
this.
it's that arid, that edge of the desert arid area near the high desert, and it's it's vast. It's a vast area, and then
Yeah.
you look at groundwater reserves in certain areas are getting depleted or limited, and at areas that didn't previously have large population growth that currently do have large population growth. They just didn't plan for the future. And then areas that had large populations that didn't plan for the future or the present, or they did plan for it and then just literally got the door slammed in their face.
Give me 2 seconds to bird dog down a completely different path and then we'll stop.
Yeah.
So the state of Arizona, this is brilliant. One of their water board commissioners was God almighty. Hell, I'm losing steam because I forgot who the hell this guy worked for. But basically, he worked for the Saudi government. Okay. And he then gets elected to a Arizona water board. This man immediately turns around and sells this colossal amount of water to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia moves all of their dairy farm and hay farming hay to Arizona because Arizona is known as like, the hay state of the world. Okay. He then pumped so much damn water out of the ground in Arizona that we were talking about all the mom and pop operations and the old families.
Yeah.
He pumped so much water out of the ground that he even cut Phoenix off at the tap. Here's the problem. If you're not from the Western US, you don't realize that water rights actually carry, like, literally God's word. So the Saudis and their dairy hay farm production had priority over the city of Phoenix and Scottsdale. Okay. And then he's able to turn around and sell all of these hay bales, alfalfa hay bales, back to Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, the American ranchers just getting baby seal clubbed into oblivion.
Yeah.
This is these are the policies that we really have to be paying attention to. Come back to California. We said it's about the fish. So there's this glorious little fish.
Well, let's start with there's this giant infrastructure project that's 20 plus years old, right?
Yeah.
15 years old. Like this thing got approved and built decades ago.
Built.
Yeah. It's there.
And it's a real simple concept. In the Sierra Nevadas, they get lots of snow. Okay? Historically in the past, that snow would melt and it would go into the Central Valley of California, into an extinct lake called Lake Tulane. People came into place. They started building farms. It's very fertile ground. And California soon became kind of like the breadbasket of the United States, but also
The
the world.
produce aisle.
Okay. I'm all about this. Yes. Okay. The problem is that they started draining Lake Tulane. Okay. And by, shame on me. I'm sorry. I don't know the timeline, but by like the 1940s, Lake Tulane's gone. It's still very fertile ground. Lots of farms come into place and they produce. Okay. Everything. Like you said, the produce aisle for America. All right. They still had excess water, even through the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and into the 80s. They even had it into the 90s. And instead of flushing all of that water out to the Pacific Ocean, what they started to build was a very intricate series of dams, reservoirs, and water retention systems, and then ultimately canals and pipes and water distribution systems. Because California's West Coast is dominated by San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose, San
LA.
Bernardino, LA, the entirety of the LA basin, and then San Diego. Okay. Environmentalist, and I don't fault them for it. Damn it, because there's nothing wrong with saying even that little itty bitty fish needs a hug. Okay. But the problem is they shut all these projects down because of the damn water pumps and they were grinding up the fish. Okay. Well, the second you did that is the second that you shut off the entire water distribution to the state. And Colorado's different story, but same side of the coin. California has, since 1990, has had hell with supplying water across the state. And it's because of an endangered California Delta schmelt.
Minnow.
Okay. Don't get me wrong. And again, it's easy to hate the fish because it doesn't have thumbs. Okay. Be a trooper for me on this. Hang in there. All right.
Well,
there's lots of things that eat the schmelt. Okay. Birds.
It's
fish,
important. Yeah. Frogs. Yeah.
All right. Farmers, they love critters. God spare me, even the Delta schmelt. Here's the problem. I'm pretty sure that instead of shutting down the entire water infrastructure from the state, that they probably could have come up with a different solution instead of sending the Delta schmelt through a goddamn blender.
Yeah. So you look at states like Arkansas. I went on a fishing trip into northern Arkansas into the White River, and the incredible trout fishing. Like, but the reason why it's incredible trout fishing there is because it's a fisherman's paradise. It's very well managed, and they're farming trout and releasing them, right?
Right.
Like, there's a plan, it's sustainable. They, it costs millions of dollars, but tourists like me pay lots of money to get to go fish there for a weekend and, you know, do your thing and do your best impersonation of a fly fisherman, because that's not what you do in West Texas.
No.
Uh, but it's awesome, and that there's limits and there's limitations and areas that you can keep the fish and areas where it's catch and release, and it's all planned out. And the same with the smelt. Like it doesn't take too much of a fish farm to probably raise a whole pile of smelts.
Well, they're so small.
They're tiny.
So you can probably get billions and billions and billions of these little bastards
Per acre.
per acre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a weird segue here. Okay. But it's directly on point. So in 2015, we had a tornado here in our hometown. We're at day 2 and 3, kind of cleaning up, doing the last of the searching. And day 2, I'm with a group of people, and there's still 6 people missing. And we stumble into this poor German Shepherd that's trapped under his little doghouse, got crushed by a 500-year-old oak tree, but the shepherd was a digger, and he'd actually dug a hole long before under his doghouse. So when the storm hits, he does the smart thing and takes cover under his doghouse. He's good because he didn't get smashed by the 14,000-ton tree. The problem is that he can't get out. We spend hours and hours and hours digging this damn dog out from under this tree. And one of the people I'm with, they are an animal lover. Okay. And when I say that they got pissed at me because I was leaving, there was a point there where the conversation went to, it's people first, dog a distant whatever, but it's people first. There's still 6 people technically missing from this call. We need to be searching for people. The same thing applies here. The stinking people of California matter more than the river schmelt. And I'm sorry. We have to always take people first. It's not the river fished first. It just can't be. And it's absurd that I'm the ultra humanitarian in this entire story. It makes no sense. And I just wish that instead of shutting down that entire project that they did in California, why on earth did they not come up with another solution that would have been a lot more beneficial to everyone? Yeah, would it have cost a fortune? I can guarantee it would have. How bad have these fires been in the last couple of years before the billions and billions and tens of billions that turn into hundreds of billions of dollars in losses, much less the loss of life, over the simple fact that you have canals that are running dry and they shouldn't be wet? There's got to be a certain point at where it ends.
Well, I was just reading TIFMA's EMAC request for Texas and to go to California, right?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'm all behind TIFMIS, but they're doing their very best to mimic Cal Fire. And I have a problem with that.
Yeah. So there's a request out there in Texas right now today for equipment, and it's moving up the channels to see if Texas sends stuff, right?
I saw something earlier today that said that the we're going to call it mutual aid equipment and apparatus and people that were arriving into California out of state all had to go to Sacramento for their state inspection before they could be released for the fire lines.
Yeah, DOT inspection or whatever.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There has got to be a point at where this stops. You're either the snake eating your own tail and you deserve it, or the regulators need to absolutely be thrown on the fire line. Give them a
Tote sack and a shovel.
right, and tell them that don't worry, there'll be no water because it's about the fish.
Or at least there's a 3-day layover in your 14-day deployment to be vetted in Vegas, right? That also works. So
It's just asinine. I mean, God Almighty, there's got to be a point there at where someone sooner or later is going to lose their damn job.
Well, and it costs so stinking much money for this type of stuff, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know the true numbers, but you can just say a firefighter on a TIFMAS deployment is just roughly 10 grand a week.
Yeah.
Just in that ballpark. So if you've got a 2 or 3 man crew on a truck, and the truck's another amount, right? The truck's 30 grand. So you got a 3-man crew at 10 grand, that's 30, and then the truck's 30, that's $60,000 a week on this deployment that it's costing somebody.
Taxpayer.
Yeah.
Because it'll
Or
immediately
everybody.
become a federal event.
Yeah. Or everybody, right? To fund this fire truck to be there. And that's great for those cities and those departments and those firefighters that are going to do it. They're making money hand over fist that they would have not otherwise been able to make. But it's just we've lost a little bit of the community aspect in the mutual aid that we have somewhat more prevalent in the volunteer fire service than in the career fire service.
Right.
Yeah.
My next statement is just, it's a matter of fact. Okay. This neighborhood, this specific Heights neighborhood that burned down, that's full of very wealthy white people. I bet you some shit changes after that.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it always does, right?
And the fact of the matter is that California and the Western U.S. has been a ticking time bomb on the wildland front for decades. And sooner or later, there's going to be a point of no return on this. And I mean, we're there, you know, the insurance company major, the largest insurer in the US, raised everyone's insurance rates 36% in California last year alone. I wonder what the rate raise will be now. Another 30, 60%?
Well, theoretically, you play the claim and then the rate should go down because there's the threat of wildfire is exhausted for the time being.
In that area.
Right? It's crazy. And I know everybody wants to armchair quarterback and whatever. I am perfectly fine admitting I don't have the tactical expertise to fight the fire that they're fighting.
Oh, yeah, no. That's a special slice of hell them guys and gals in California having to deal with.
Yeah, that is not the open prairie fire that I'm used to.
Yeah, cedar fires.
Yeah.
Hay fires. Yeah. 40, 60 degree incline fires.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the same as what we do here. Well, granted, there's parts of Texas that may be dealing with similar topography and tactics and stuff, but it's not here. Here, I mean, by here, I mean 80% of the state of Texas, right?
99% of Texas.
Yeah.
No.
Davis Mountains, maybe.
Yeah, but
Big Bend, some of that part.
they're going to let that burn anyways.
Yeah.
Because
There's no people, right?
So, I mean,
It's
that's
not like
even
Lubbock where
comparable.
you can watch your dog run away for 4 days,
Right.
you know.
Or watch your dog in Houston for 3 days or 3 seconds run away and get bit by a snake.
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, I just, that's the big takeaway from this. I want everyone to understand. Oh, this would be a good segue into our little political statement.
Yeah, it's not really political as much as it's just a statement, right?
We are not remotely disparaging CAL FIRE, command, ops, operators, firefighters, logistics, or anyone in CAL FIRE or that supports CAL FIRE. Okay.
Or the guys from Texas and
Or anyone
everywhere
else
else
that
that's
goes
going to help, right?
to bail their ass out. Okay. But we released a special edition
T-shirt.
Okay. And it is in support of CAL FIRE. And it's just a statement. Okay. And it's just like, at the end of the day, enough's enough. Just get these men and women what they need to just go to work. Okay. It's got to stop. Cops and firefighters and EMTs, paramedics are the only damn people that actually care about the communities they work in. Okay. And we're doing everything in our power as a country to just cut them off at the knees and then stab them in the forehead. And it's got to stop. Like, for the love of Christ, please just support these people for the work they're doing.
And something as simple as when you throw that wrench on that hydrant, water should come out of it.
Right. Okay. It shouldn't be up for debate. You know, and I'm going to defend city management here. The city shouldn't have to decide, should we try and extinguish the fire or do we need to make sure that the elementary school has water? Like, come on. That's not a city management decision. That's definitely like a California Board of Supervisors county level decision. Okay. Maybe use this one event to maybe reevaluate some of your policies and come back to the realm of, I don't know, public protection, public safety, public awareness, public. Why don't we figure that part out?
Yeah. Because damn the fish, right? It's fine. It's fine to if
People first.
people first.
People first. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will kill every single California Delta schmelt if I know that fire goes out instantly right now and protects everyone else's life and their property.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people that put a lot of time, energy, and effort into their damn homes, and they lost it all. Now the damn insurance company is going to be teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, and we're not talking about a small one. Okay. No one wins, and it's not the company's fault, and it's not the city's fault, and it's not CAL FIRE's fault, and it's not the citizens and homeowners' fault, and it's not the renters' fault. It's your idiot legislature's fault. They're the ones. It's not the city management. It's not their fault.
And in this case, I think it literally falls back to a judge.
Yeah, that guy deserves some extra attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is. It's got to stop. God almighty, it's got to stop. Like, I'm sorry. That's a simple solution.
Farm some schmelts.
Yeah. Bump up some fish farms, turn the pumps on. Like, you don't have to push the farm schmelt into the pump. Like, don't put them in the stream right there. Put them in the middle.
or farther up. As far away from the pump as you can put them in.
You're probably getting close to another pump in the middle. It just is. It's stupid. It's so stupid. And it's just bad decision after bad decision that's leading to just travesty after disaster after monumental catastrophic disaster.
Entire neighborhoods just reduced to ashes.
Right.
Yeah,
People lost everything.
thousands of homes that, let's just say each one of those homes is 2.5 people.
You want to throw some shade somewhere? It's not the insurance company, it's the pistachio farming mega corporation.
Yeah.
Or the pomegranate farming
It's
corporation.
Palm Wonderful.
You know, God damn it, you have apple juice, you have pineapple juice, you have orange juice.
And almond milk.
No, you don't need almond milk. That's my point. Just, Jesus, drink something else. Stop supporting these corporations that are intentionally killing people in this damn neighborhoods that they're theoretically providing a service to. I don't know. God, there's gotta be a point at where it stops. And enough's enough. And I don't know where it's at, and I don't know when it is, and I don't know how it happens. But I think the last number that I saw off of this that I know for sure was 2,000, or 2 people died.
I think it's up to 4.
4 dead, and 7,500 homes burned down. And by the way, there's a third fire that kicked off this afternoon. There's got to be a point at where it stops.
Yeah. So our little meme shirt, it's as much as it's just a nothing burger means nothing. It has undertones, right? It's the poor firefighter opening the empty hydrant with death and mayhem behind him, and you know, the helicopters doing what they can do in all the burning houses, and it says for the fish, right?
Oh,
for the fish.
Here's something completely unrelated but directly related. So right now there's 2 Canada Air I think there's CL 214s or 215s working that fire. There were 2. Now there's 1 because one of the Canada Air water bombers hit a damn drone and it's taken it out of service. I don't know. There's no words to describe at how stupid you are. And don't get me wrong, I assure you, the feds would do anything in their power to sink their claws in you. And they're not, because it's going to be impossible to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
But I can assure you, every single federal agency would be doing anything in their power to sink your claws in you if they could ever figure out who you are. So here's,
unless it's a commercial drone with ADSB.
Well, you know,
there is that.
Well, it wouldn't happen because the airplane would have seen it and wouldn't have hit it. So, in helping our firefighters, let's not do things that's going to make sure that we get 3 seconds and 47 viewers on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, really? And you should see this dent in the swing. Like,
leading edge.
It's
smack it.
Oh, perfect. Dead nut center.
Mm.
Then it wasn't a DJI drone. I
Well,
guarantee
you just put some Bondo on it and just
speed tape.
Yeah, a little speed tape. Spray foam. I heard if you spray foam it and then put the speed tape over it, perfectly fine.
I've never tried that. I might look at that in the future.
Yeah, that seems like it'd be okay.
I'm sure the FAA would be fine with
that. They're fine. There's an STC for it.
Insurance companies, chief pilots, manufacturer, they all signed off.
They all signed off on it. Yeah.
I just let's stop compounding the stupid. Ooh,
Oh, the cars and the bulldozer is more compounding this.
Yeah, that would be
We,
postcard.
we tried to make another shirt that says you can't park here. And if you don't understand what that's about, just get on X and just poke around for a minute. You'll figure it out.
So we'll go to a lighter note. So we used AI because I can assure you I couldn't draw
But
that.
yeah, no, I can't produce an accurate good stick figure.
So do be smart when you're using AI to build things for your department. Uh be specific. And after the first time the AI told me it wouldn't render that image, I had a good long short think about it, and about 12 seconds later I realized, like, oh, yeah, I could understand why the AI would have a problem with someone requesting a bulldozer driving through a parking lot mall. That's a long and
Yeah.
interesting story from my home state.
Yeah.
Moving
Komatsu
on.
355s.
So,
Hemeyer aside.
yeah, just let's let's be smart. Let's help each other. Let's help each other on the political level. You know, if you see stupid happen locally, don't be afraid to let your commissioners know. You never know exactly who they talk to. God forbid we reach out to like a state rep, maybe try and work with them.
Yeah, and just let them know that hey, your decisions have consequences, and at least when it comes down to it, they can't say they didn't know.
Right.
Right? May not change the output or outcome.
Both.
May not make your job any easier, but at least you can say, hey, we told you about that. Might be a problem.
Right.
So don't blame me. We warned you.
Yeah. I just, we're going to continue to deal with this. It just feels like it's perpetually beating our forehead against the wall. And I don't, it's a damn shame that an absolute catastrophe has to happen before something changes.
Yep.
And it's just, I'll always make this joke, particularly about the federal air regulations, the FARs. Those aren't guidelines. Those are written in blood. People had to die before that rule got made. And I feel like that's also applicable here in the fire service. How many people have to die before we finally realize that we need to change the way we're doing our thing? And in this particular case, it's not the fire departments, it's not the fire chiefs. I'd even argue it's not a local thing. But our state legislatures have got to get their heads on a swivel and actually start doing something proactive. God forbid. What are you looking at over there?
Oh, I'm just poking around on the old X. Yeah. So we'll probably drop this as a special episode. It'll be a few days after the recording of this, and the post for the t-shirt will have been up a few days by the time you're hearing this, because
Oh, I thought you were going to go.
I literally dropped an episode this morning. So we'll give it a couple
Oh,
days.
no.
Yeah, we'll give it a couple days. We'll dump this one out here in a couple days. We'll let that one have a little bit of life before we do this one. But
It's all about the analytics.
yeah, well, and two, you don't want to cut the legs off of another one that frankly might be beneficial to somebody, and they won't get it.
I don't even, that was a few days ago. I don't even remember what we talked
We
about.
talked a lot about AI and deductive reasoning. It was good topics. But this is live and relevant. I'll like I said, I'm gonna give it a couple days, and then we'll jump this out maybe Monday or something. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there. We'll drop this as a special episode and just see what happens with it.
Okay. We good on time, or do we need
Yeah,
to
we're
keep
good.
bugging?
No, we're
Okay.
good.
Well, if you ever feel particularly incentivized to support us or our message, you can always reach out to or with questions. We do appreciate questions. You can find us on it. You can reach out to us at ittasteslikeburningcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Patreon at It Tastes Like Burning. And you can find us on YouTube at It Tastes Like Burning Cast.
And I'm not going to give you the whole rundown of the Printify store, but it's in the description, right?
Always like, click, and subscribe. And with that said, this Matt.
This Jesse.
Have a good evening.